Hey, I'm with Jordan Nothing Gilbert, as everyone likes to call him, member of Cloud9. I just wanted to ask you about your roles first on Cloud9.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're here at CEVO-P LAN. You just played a match against, what was the team name? It was Mel Sports. It was a two-map series, obviously 2-0. Um, there was definitely some merits to what you guys did in those maps, but a couple of things went wrong.
Yeah.
Um, Take us map by map. Maybe start with Cash.
Yeah. So yeah, we start with Cash.
16-4.
Yeah, I remember at one point it was 3-2 them, and we felt like we were about to get rolling. We won T pistol. It was really bummer. We won a clean T pistol, and then to lose that second round, I think they only had 2A. And Chris Jake hit like a nutty shot on Shroud coming out the door with a scout, and then he hit another shot, and the 5-7 guy got a kill.
That was freak. Yeah, he came around the corner.
I mean, it always is lame to say like, what if we didn't lose ecos, but I definitely think we'd had a solid half T side if we just won that for that eco round, and then it would have been 3-0. And Sean Gare's call is a lot better when our economy is balanced, but when we have to come back from economy, I feel like sometimes we try not really desperate strats, but strats that we won't normally run because we're hoping to catch them off guard, but sometimes it looks silly. Like some of the A strats we run, we just ran into a brick wall, and they knew like the veggie wrap strat we do out squeaky door. They had a lot of nades ready for it and stuff.
Yeah, so you actually, on Cash, I mean, you did keep your composure like all the way up until the 15th round. It was like 14-4, and you still opted not to force buy again. Instead, you saved through the 15th and played from there. Were you feeling like confident that you could bring it back once you got rolling? Like I know it was a lot dependent on your economy.
I can't say we were like extremely confident, but at the same time, yeah, like we know Counter Strike is one round at a time, and we definitely know we could win rounds versus Mal's. God B's a great caller though. To give him credit, he definitely knows how to give his team a good chance at each round. So yeah, I mean, we just figured let's not waste too much energy, but at the same time, let's give it a shot. Force buy seemed unlikely. German teams are always really hard to anti-eco. They seem really good at being meticulous about their default. It's not like it's not possible, but yeah, we just quick decision by us.
There was a couple of close rounds moving on to Dust 2, which is a lot more interesting, obviously a lot closer. I think it was 16-13. You guys got 3 rounds CT, and while I was casting it, obviously, I was like thinking back to SWC and how good your 2-1-2 setup was on Dust 2. But you had an eco round, I think, where you got like 2 kills at middle really quick, and then it was like 5v3, and then you guys were like scrambling for the retake.
Well, yeah, I think we knew they crossed long, right?
Yeah.
So they got up A and then they smoked off brick. Excuse me. I might have made a mistake CT spawn on the retake. I ran up the spawn ramp,
Yeah.
thinking that my teammates were just going to jump through the smoke together because I was waiting for them to get close smoke, and then I kind of just made an assumption. It sucked because it is hard to come through that smoke with no armor because they just tear you up with
Yeah.
AKs. But yeah, that was a tough one.
Was it like confusing in that moment just to pry a little bit, because what it looked like was you guys got too long to get situated on cap because you were already there. You just kind of like didn't decide where
We
you were
just
going to
didn't want to
separate.
go into the site early because the guy got into the single box, and that's where he could isolate us. When you're running across the quad, it's really easy for him to just pop up, get a kill behind the bomb box. So we decided to wait for everyone to be ready. I was actually on cat. I went back CT spawn because we had like 3 people there.
Yeah.
And then the smoke landed, and we probably should have waited that out, but I don't even know if we had a kit, so we just
No,
kind
no.
of got split up. And
Yeah, it felt like once the smoke went down, it was kind of like, even though it was 2v5, like they had a much better chance to win than you guys did. So yeah, going back to the 2-1-2 setup, obviously you count on Shroud at long and Skadoodle at par to kind of get like 1 or 2 kills, delay at least for the retakes. I know Freak will
yeah,
sometimes get to Goose.
yeah,
Were
we
you
were
like,
talking about it. So that one round we told Shroud, like, because he had already died big pit one hold, so we told him to play more just long on the corner, and we'll play quick retake setup. And again, Ska got one, died, and then Shroud didn't trade.
yeah,
So like, Shroud's not someone where you could really criticize him for that. Like, he'll normally get those kills, so that's just on him to like bear down next time. It's hard to be too frustrated. It's just unfortunate that he wasn't able to get them. But yeah, like you said, normally we're able to. Ska gets a pick, Shroud holds the long, and then we can retake from long and spawn.
yeah?
But we didn't have that long outlet once they went down, so it made it a lot more difficult.
Was that something you weren't used to? Like, because I know they're so reliable, and that's why you put them there. Was that like catching you off guard when that happened?
Yeah, because we knew Mao's likes to either go early long or they have like just standard big cat hit. And the late long stuff, normally Shroud gets a kill. So like I said, it's hard to really like the only thing to change is the whole setup. Like if we want to just like focus in Scott, push him off cat or something with op. I think we did that once.
Yeah.
But other than that, yeah, it's just unfortunate.
Now you had, I feel like, played particularly well on CT side. There were a couple rounds you had, like the first rifle round out the gate. They sent like Dennis like right out the mid doors or something, and they surrounded everywhere. They caught Freak off guard rotating the mid, and then they got him beat, and you got like a 3K when they pretty much had
Yeah, I
us
killed
around
three
on
at
the
door,
site.
then like the fourth one somewhere else. Yeah,
then-
no, it was a big 4K.
Yeah, and then you had another one where there was a smoke down. You guys actually lost this round, but it was an upper B. There was a smoke down, and
Oh, it was a
the
2v4?
bomb. You know you could cut off the bomb rotating to the B.
Yeah, I made a play through mid door, and
Yeah.
it was a good play. But the opera got in B before me and got that pick on my
Oh,
rotator
it was when
spawn.
they threw that smoke in upper. And
Yeah,
you went lower?
exactly. But
Yeah,
so
yeah.
someone got in B early. That's why they fell back to B, and he opted Sean because they did an early long take.
Yeah.
When their operative script like walked into B, picked Sean spawn. So I pushed mid to lower, caught the other guys off guard. I assumed that opera's still in B, but he ran all the way to lower.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate because we thought he was there. I could have told Freak to just go in B. I think when they came up the stairs and killed us, there was only like 15 seconds left.
Oh, that's why. So okay.
Because that's why we both fought upper B, because we thought one was B, one was lower. So we're
Oh.
like, shit, we have to stay here and hold it, because otherwise we're isolated. But in retrospect, obviously, if you just ran in B, that's much easier.
Yeah.
And then I noticed you remember talked about the retake round at A when the guy was behind quad boxing on cat
Yeah.
and Skadoodles in the platform. Then we flashed ourselves.
Yeah.
I think we flashed each other 3 times, twice on CT and once on T that game. That really screwed us up.
So you've gotten to a place on Cloud9 where you guys have got like a lot more structure. John Garris has been a lot more confident in his calling. You guys feel like you have more defined roles, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
And have you gotten like comfortable to the point that like you felt like you should be able to win the maps easily, and that when it started going wrong, like was there confusion or?
Well, I think some things that we're still working on is like, I've obviously played for a long time, so like I think I'm pretty good at like, even if I had a bad round the previous round, just going into a default and saying the little things and doing it right. I feel like sometimes we just have these habits across the board where we rely on Sean too much mid-round when he gets a pick to do something.
Yeah.
And we have a lot of great reactions planned out. But like on Cash, you saw him like kill a B pusher a couple of times, and we still lost the round.
Yeah.
Because we kind of just slowly moved, and they just took gambles. It happened on Dust too a couple rounds where our retakes were just kind of like not just one person saying, "Hey, I'm going to flash you guys, run up and just take the site."
Yeah.
So I think we are in a really good place right now. But it's easy to get complacent when you're in that place and forget the little things that get you those rounds. Because not every round we won in ESWC or ESL or DreamHack was like clean. We like salvaged some big rounds by just like staying tight late round, winning some big 2v2s, 3v3s. So we just got to remember that that's part of winning too, and we got to really bear down on those tight rounds because we obviously can. But if you forget one flash, that's the difference versus any of these teams, CLG or Mouse or Navi.
Now, obviously, you might not rate CLG and Mouse or put them at the same level, right? You think Mouse played particularly
is tactically much better, obviously, than CLG. They've been a team longer. Gabi is a much more experienced caller than Cutler, but CLG obviously knows us well, and that creates like this weird phenomenon when you play your countryman about this confidence, just like when Fnatic play Nip or like an Orbit plays Fnatic or something. So we're pretty confident against them. It's all about the head game there, just like making sure we do the little things right, and we're pretty confident versus all in 8 teams.
So what separates you right now? Because you guys had fantastic online results throughout the season, and it was kind of like similar to what iBuyPower had. Like iBuyPower was always a position where they would have a fantastic online season, and then it seemed like honestly sometimes we get like a harder group, or maybe just have like a loss, or maybe just not have a T side, and you guys found a way to compete against international teams a lot better, but then would have like shaky online results. Now you've got kind of best of both worlds, great online season, not losing against any teams that you should, and then going into LAN and doing exactly what people expect of you. Do you feel like, what separates you from a team like CLG or some of the other tier North American teams?
I think part of it is just like skill, although they have skilled players, and then it's probably psychological. It's hard to define all the psychological aspects, but just like I think all the NA teams are getting more confident, but they have these little factors, internal issues they need to solve. Because if you're just comfortable with your role and you have confidence, that goes a long way. That little bit of confidence is a big difference. That changes you from a 16-9 to competing for the map. If you notice Liquid and CLG, they lose all these maps like 16-10 because they're playing on an even keel, but randomly big rounds that it seems like they overlook little aspects. They just like they get an entry frag and they just sit in their bomb sites and they don't realize you don't need 2 and B when your teammate just spotted 2A main on cache or something weird, and they just leave. They just expect their 2A guys to hold it. Well, these European teams have the ability to get out there and get those 2 frag. Just little, maybe it's confidence, maybe they just don't feel comfortable leaving one guy in the site, but that little bit of confidence seems to affect teams, and that's really the only explanation I have because I don't really know what CLG's problems are. I'm not in their mumble.
What it's like to be a shitter.
Well, I'm just not in their mumble. I don't know what personal problems they may have, or same with Liquid or Luminosity right now, right?
So I take it you're pretty confident going up against CLG tomorrow?
Tonight.
Are you playing? Or tonight? Oh yeah, I'm casting your match, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I work here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think you're confident going up against them, even though you have like that rocky, what was it, CT side on cache versus them?
Yeah, as long as we don't fall into trance like that, like, I think we're pretty confident.
Yeah, like Sean said, when they did the listening, I was casting another game at the time, but he was like, I'm out of ideas.
Yeah, well, the thing is sometimes I think Sean takes, like, when we lose rounds too much, he gets too angry at, like, thinking that it's his fault. But, like, some of those rounds we were telling him, bro, we lost a one-on-one battle. Like, I just lost my one-on-one. Yeah. And, like, it's important, I think, for us to remind Sean that because, like, a strat could work, but if you lose your battle, then it's, like, it's not really Strat's fault. So I think sometimes we made some changes that were unnecessary on that CT side, and they didn't really do anything that special on their T side default. Slow default, maul event, boost mid, walk out A main, do his execute, late lurk mid and stuff, and it was working. So in those scenarios, we just need to, like, that's where I want someone like Scar or Shroudy. That's like the only flaw those guys have ever is they're excellent players, great communicators, more so than people think, but the communication is like when they're having a problem, it's almost like they're stubborn to ask for help. But if I just come over there and throw one flash for Shroud, I can get him 2 kills because of how good he is. But he's just like, no, I'll hold it next time. But they're obviously trying to isolate him. Right. So like a lot of times good players like that, that's their only flaw is to like ask for help.
Oh, that's interesting. And they're like quiet and they seem humble, but
yeah, they seem humble and stuff. But sometimes they have to admit, like, yeah, just one flash will go so far. Right. If we just, and I would love to be the bait for Shroud. I'll throw my M4 and run through smoke for him, and he'll get the next 2 for sure. And I have skill to do that too, but like when someone like Shroud, it's so natural, the roboticness. It's like I said, it's like me in 1.6. Like I could out aim anyone. Like Shroud versus Olaf, you could out aim him. That doesn't mean you can outplay him in every scenario. So we just need to make sure they're doing what they need to make sure they're comfortable. I don't want Skadoodle in his own head, like, oh, where should I play this round? Dude, do whatever you want. Don't even follow the strat if you don't need to, because you're going to get a kill if you do what you want. So, like, as long as they communicate, we seem to not have an issue. But randomly, we get into this trance, like we did for CLG, where we do the quote-unquote same thing, and people aren't speaking up that they just missed a shot, or they're getting pinned in by 3, so, yeah.
Okay, cool. That was really insightful.
Thanks for the interview.
Yeah, you too, man.